Alright. I don't know if I want to do this video because it's long. It's 41 minutes long, but I have a feeling it's going to be covering some important topics. This video's about brain rot because, bro, I'm sorry, it needs to be talked about. I hate, I hate everything about this. I don't know if I want to talk, whatever, it doesn't matter if I want to. I'm going into, why does this guy have the biggest, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Hi. Are you suffering from brain rot? Do you reach for your phone before brushing your teeth in the morning? Do you have a double-digit screen time? Does your anxiety
Well, I can check right now. Do I have a double digit? I spent a lot. Oh my god, my phone's dead? No. Let me check right now what my screen time is. I guarantee it's trash. I guarantee it's like... I'm gonna guess it's like 6 to 8 hours, and that's... Oh, if that's true... Oh, I opened the App Store first, by the way. I'm actually stupid. I forgot where you... Oh, screen time? Daily average 4 hours. Oh, what? That's not even that bad. For phone? Damn. Down 14% from last week. That's crazy! Because I've actually had more free time than usual this week. So, hey. The sad reality is, I used to think that I personally did not have brain rot. Because I always assumed brain rot was just like a word that described people who used these, like, dumb phrases. I don't even want to say them, but like, oh, Hawk Tuah, or, you know, like things like that, where it's just like, oh, yeah, it's brain rot. Until I realized, no, it's actually more deeper than that. It's when your brain just, in my opinion, brain rot, from what I understand, is when you lose your attention span because of all these short form content. And I fully agree. It's happening. I'm just gonna say this for the record that I literally cannot. I'm struggling to play single player games without getting bored. Like, you know, story driven games like Red Dead Redemption 2, I find myself struggling to play them. Not because I need like a phone, but I need to have like other stuff on top of that to entertain me. I need to have a video playing. Like, oh, it's just so horrible. It's like now if I have to play a game without any like videos playing or music, I instantly get like just way more bored. That's brain rot. I'm gonna be honest.
bike when you don't feel your phone in your pocket? Have you found yourself scrolling for hours upon end while your room's a mess, swearing you're going to have a productive day, just
Yeah,
to reach
okay,
the
that's
end
also
and
happened to me.
realize you didn't do anything?
Oh, that's why I left TikTok, and then the problem is YouTube Shorts is doing the same thing. I was on TikTok for a couple months, like 2 years ago, and I found myself, I remember there was a Saturday where I literally spent like 6 hours straight after waking up of just scrolling, and I realized, bro, I wanted to do things today, not just scroll. At least when I use YouTube Shorts, it's like, it's in bursts. You know, I'll be on there for like 30 minutes, and I'll be like, okay, yeah, I'm off. But, I mean, the problem with TikTok was it was just like, at least for me, it was just like, it was the algorithm was so bad that I actually had to continuously scroll to find good content. It was like the search for like the peak content to send to someone, be like, "Oh, look, I found this cool video." It was constant.
Again, do you notice yourself grabbing your phone during every slightly dull moment in life
I
to be
do.
replaced with an infinite stream of mindless, forgettable content? Have you noticed your brain feeling slower, mushier, like your entire sensory experience is being fed to you through a filter? Almost like you're there, but you're not. Like you're watching yourself from the outside, slowly watching your life
I don't
crumble
like that
piece
picture.
by piece. Like a car crash happening in slow motion that you can't stop because you're not even in control anymore,
I
but
don't feel like
just
that.
an observer.
I don't feel that, and also this noise needs
Well,
to get
then
out of
you
my
may have
ears.
brain rot. And don't worry, you're not alone. It's a condition that affects almost everyone around you, young and old. It can be caused by several factors, like your sleep, diet, not doing the bare minimum to take care
Wait,
of
so
yourself.
brain
But
rot's
first,
actually
let's
like a medical term? I don't think it is. I don't know. Oh, I also should add, by the way, I think that most people who have a phone nowadays, who are younger, have this problem. I think that's just true because it's I don't even know where it comes from. I think oh my god, I just touched my mic like an idiot. I think it does come from short form content and watching too much of it because you know, it's just I don't know. I don't know. I we'll see. I'll actually Okay, I'm cutting this out. This stupid video when I make this video.
Let's focus on the big one, the thing you're using right now, the internet. Over 5 billion people use the internet daily and spend an average of over
Oh,
six
really?
and a half hours looking at a screen. Punching that into the calculator.
Wait, did that say US or did that
an
say
average of over 6.5 hours?
in the US? Okay. Well, the US is obviously going to be worse than most countries because there's every problem in the US is amplified by a ton, it seems like, because it just is. But you know, 7 hours and 3 minutes. I'm gonna be honest, I think I'm more than that. And I'm not even talking about my phone. I'm talking computer. I think my computer averages around like 7 to 8 hours a day. Like that's how much I think I'm on my computer every day, at least bare minimum. Which is just a sad life. It really is. And also, it's been unchanged since 2021. And think about it this way. 2021 was when we still had COVID somewhat around, where it's like, there was still like, oh, hybrid jobs and oh, hybrid school was still somewhat around. So, you know, people back then had a lot more free time. And the fact that it's still the same when everything's back to normal is actually crazy. Also, the global average is 6 hours and 40 minutes. That's horrible. That is bad. Sad reality is I'll say it's bad, but I'm not going to change anything. And I think most people won't either.
Punching that into the calculator means we collectively spend over 4 million years per day looking at screens. If you're 20 years old right now, over your life alone, you will spend over 16 years combined looking at a screen. Majority of those years adding nothing to your life but rotting your brain. Because let's be honest, we can use the internet to be productive, to work, be creative, etc. But we all know the vast majority of those 4 million years is spent on, well, bullshit. Now let's define bullshit. Because most people, whenever they're talking about brain rot, they're usually describing stupid memes or things they see on Twitter or X or whatever. And yes, that absolutely is. But I want to take it a step further.
That's the way I thought brain rot was.
And
I don't know.
add in basically any content that adds nothing to your life but mindless temporary stimulation that you forget 5 minutes later. So not only does this include stupid memes, but basically all social media, TV shows, and most movies.
Okay, alright, yeah, you're being ridiculous. Now he has the stupid pause. That's ridiculous, because, like, a good show, you will remember forever. Like, so I just feel like that's ridiculous. And then saying, oh, well, good show's brain rot, like, bro, what?
Of course, there's nothing wrong with watching a little mindless content every now and then. More on that in a minute. But if you're reaching for your phone before taking care of yourself, you have a problem. And just speaking candidly, the interesting thing about brain rot is that it's a pretty new thing. The internet and social media have been around for well over a decade at this point, but only within the past couple of years do I think people are really starting to notice how bad it's getting. We're starting to notice the effects, not just within ourselves, but in other people around us, especially younger people growing up with this.
You know, I've always said this, but, well, I've always said this. That's not even true. I was going to say I've never really said this story, but I remember one time I went to Raising Cane's for the first time, and the whole place was packed. There's all these people, and every single person I looked at every single table, even families, had all of the people were on their phone or an iPad. And I just sat there and realized, oh my god, we're cooked. Because if you have to go to a restaurant and be on your phone to enjoy it, I can't even lie, I'm the same way. Like, when I go down to a sit-down restaurant, I'm going on my... Dude, the amount of times I've played Clash Royale while in a sit-down restaurant, bro, is diabolical. I remember going eating with family at this, I think it was Olive Garden. I just played Clash Royale the whole time, bro. Like, that's a problem, bro. That's a problem. You're supposed to be interacting with these people.
This modern technology. Now it's not uncommon to see grown-ass adults glued to their phones while they're driving down the highway, or young kids staring at their iPads while walking around a grocery store. Even subtle things, like most of the dating market being basically digitalized, and how everybody walks with earbuds to stay constantly stimulated.
Ooh, okay. Yep, that's another problem I have. Oh my god, it's a huge problem I've noticed. For example, school. Every single time I walk out of the car, I'm always instantly put my AirPods in. Always. I'm one of those people where you walk around in school and you'd be like, oh, I've never seen this guy without headphones or AirPods in. Yeah, that's me. I mean, even I'm back in high school, bro. I used to wear AirPods in class. Like, I'm not that severe now, but I mean, I'd always listen to music or something every single time. Like, it would be like 8 hours of just that. Can't imagine. Also, I'm pretty sure I took a hearing test. I remember, like those well, online one, so it's probably like some random idiot. But allegedly, my ears are like age of 40, and I'm 18. Yeah, that's a problem. And I think a big factor is I have my AirPods in all the time and headphones, and I wear these headphones at home. I'm on my computer for like 8 hours. Like that's a problem, and I'm not the only person in the world who has this problem.
And it's sad how most of this is a joke, but it's really not fun if you think about it. The fact that we're all just collectively becoming dumb and numb to the world really isn't something to joke about. Brain rot is a term that's been slowly gaining traction, and it's more of another joke to add to the brain rot. But if you're online 6 hours a day and you're on pace to spend decades of your existence looking at flashing pixels, wasting your life, why wouldn't you take this more seriously? And when we use the most powerful tool in history to fire our brains all day watching content that we'll forget in seconds, it's going to have side effects. We have this urge to keep scrolling, hoping the next thing can make us feel something.
Yeah.
This is brain rot.
Oh, okay.
But how did we get here? How did this happen? How do we get to the point when almost every single day we'd run to these screens to look at bullshit content, knowing we want to stop, yet feeling like we can't help it? We swear we aren't addicted, yet we continue to scroll subconsciously. We swear we want to make a change in our lives, yet do nothing for ourselves.
Well, the reason why is because what's normal to us, it became normalized, right? In the sense of like that's daily routine, right? To go and watch TikTok or YouTube Shorts or whatever, Reels, Instagram Reels. And so whenever it's normal, it's hard to make change, right? So if you're gonna say I'm gonna go to the gym now, it's like, well, it's harder to do that because it's new. But once you get used to going to the gym, suddenly it's not as hard because now it's part of something you just do. You normally do it, you're used to it. So it's like putting down something that you do every single day is like hard. Like I remember one time, I hate saying this, but when I was younger, I still do this, but I used to watch YouTube every single for like an hour or two before I went to bed every night. And I remember one time I didn't do that for a night because I had my phone taken away, and I actually almost lost my mind because it was like I was so used to going to sleep. Like I couldn't fall asleep without having to watch YouTube, that it actually like without having access to it, it actually ruined me. And then I realized, oh my God, what is happening? And the worst part is, I didn't change anything. I still do it. Which is not good. And I imagine a lot of people are in the same boat where they watch TikTok or something before they go to sleep, which is horrible. It's not a great idea. Because it's just, I mean, that's the reason why a lot of people are tired.
Somehow make time for our daily scrolling sessions. We want to stop, yet we continue scrolling. Why? How did we get here? Let's go over a very quick history of the internet and the evolution of brain rot. I promise it'll be quick. Here's some Subway Surfers gameplay to keep your monkey brain engaged. It's kind of interesting how this is a joke, but unironically, it will help to watch some of this video because they actually are people who can't stay focused that long.
Well, let's be honest, the people who are watching this video are not actually that brain, like, they're not destroying the brain. To be honest, by the way, I'm gonna be honest, I hate saying this. These types of videos, I love, like, listening to them, right? I love people who talk about these type of topics, but I can't watch them. That's the worst part. The only reason why I'm able to watch this is because I'm streaming it. But if I was, like, if I watch this video outside of streaming, right? I would just listen to it while playing a video game. Right? And that's the only time I'd consume these types of videos, because I could not sit here and actually stare at the screen and watch this. It'd be so boring. And that's sad. And it's true for like half the videos I watch, I just listen to them like they're podcasts, when that's not how they're supposed to be meant to be used. Or whatever, it doesn't matter.
That's interesting. Anyways, I want to start from the very beginning, because it's important to show how we work and how we got here, to show just how new all of this really is. So first, there was nothing. Then suddenly, there was something. Then 13 billion years later, monkeys popped up. Then the first humans. And there's a little bit of an argument, but the first humans roughly evolved around 300,000 years ago. This is the beginning of us, the Homo sapiens. But the vast majority of those 300,000 years was spent hunting and gathering, like basically every other animal on Earth. Only around 12,000 years ago did we start planting our own food. And while this might sound super simple, it changed the course of history because this was the start of food storage, which made it much easier for us to survive and allowed us to grow exponentially. And over time, as it became easier, more streamlined, the game of survival became easier and easier. So easy to the point that majority of the human population could spend their time doing other things instead of hunting for food. And with all this extra free time, we're able to focus on other things and create different things like science, technology, and society, mainly making our lives more and more comfortable to the point we are now. And this happened fast.
Yeah, no, it's crazy to think about the wrong bad part. Pause. Come on.
Really fast.
Okay, that was weird too. No, it's crazy to think about how the fact that we were not meant for this life. We were meant to be moving constantly. But the problem is like how did we live? Like I'm still confused how like back like even just like 200 years ago people were living in these Arctic conditions. I don't even live that far up north, right? In the United States, and I'm complaining about how cold it is, and I have a nice coat. I have access to a nice pair of pants. I can get into a heated car if I'm going somewhere. The fact that I can get in a car, right? It's things like that where it's just like, how did people live? If they wanted to travel, they'd have to do it by horse. And in the cold winter, which was colder, by the way, because of global warming, it's like, how are these, like, and they didn't really have access to, like, luxury heating. I mean, they had, like, fireplaces, so they had to go get their own wood. Like, that's just ridiculous. How did, like, I think we just take for granted what we're able to, well, not everyone, but even most people in the world who have some sort of money and income, you know, they have the ability to survive with ease. I mean, obviously they still have to make money, which is not easy for most people. Well, not most people, but for everyone, but still. You don't have to hunt.
Fast. Like, okay, so Homo sapiens have been around for the past 300,000 years. Let's bring this time down into 1 year, and we're at the very end of this year. We didn't learn how to plant seeds until the last 2 weeks of the year.
Ooh.
Rome wasn't built until 3 days ago. The first electrical computer came out an hour and 45 minutes ago, and TikTok came out 10 minutes ago. And Apple Vision Pro, as of the time of this video, came out 30 seconds ago. And I'm saying this to really show that all of this is very new to our brains. But the hardware we run off of is very old. If you know anything about evolution and how slow it is, you know this isn't good. Now, we have obviously made a lot of progress as a species, from medical, technological, societal, astronomical, everything. But I really want to focus on the one that usually goes overlooked and is really becoming a problem, which is entertainment and stimulation. And I'm going to use these two words interchangeably, but they're basically going to mean the same thing. Like, they're not the same thing, but I'm going to be, you know what I mean. If there's one thing we know, it's that humans love stimulation. We need and thrive on stimulation.
Yeah.
It's in our nature, baked into our DNA. Without some form of stimulation, you will literally go insane. Even once you get the stimulation you wanted, you'll soon want more. It's an insatiable thirst. In the past, other humans craved stimulation too, but they were able to focus on things that were actually helpful and useful to their lives, like hunting, being social, building, like improving their lives in some way. Just a few hundred years ago, if people in the past wanted to have some form of mindless stimulation or entertainment, it had to be earned. They actually had to get up, move, buy, earn it, etc., just to do something entertaining. And the things they had for stimulation back then are nothing compared to the things we have now. You could maybe skip some rocks across water, go watch a theater play or something, or learn how to play an instrument. Simple things that would be considered very boring to the things we have today. But now, because of advancements in technology,
that's a really nice drone shot.
Too stimulating and too comfortable. If you're watching or listening to this video right now, life for you is objectively a cakewalk compared to your ancestors. You don't have to worry about finding clean food or water. And if you do, it is much easier to find than before. Also, if you do, I don't know why you'd be watching this video. All around this video player, you have other videos ready to keep you stimulated at any moment. And I highly doubt this is the first video you've watched today, especially not ever. You will most likely watch thousands of other videos after this one. If you get bored of YouTube, you can go to Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, anything really. And when you're done watching and scrolling, you're probably going to get hungry. So you're probably going to go out, go eat some fake delicious food shipped to your door that you're probably
Yeah,
gonna...
by the way, I don't know why people do this. I don't. Oh my God. Why is he hate Subway surfers? Whatever. I don't know why people do this whole DoorDash thing. I will never do it. It sounds convenient, but like, bro, like first off, you're paying way too much money. It's a scam. How much money you pay? You literally could pay less in gas money just to drive there yourself and get your food. Plus, like, I mean, I think the big factor really is just promotes laziness. Like, you're not even gonna go outside anymore. You know how easy it is now to just stay in your house the rest of your life? You know how easy it is? It's too easy because like all you have to do is just order everything you want online, do all online shopping, deliver it to your house, use Amazon, right? You got your DoorDashes, right? All those stupid places that deliver to you as well. I mean, I can't really think of a reason to really go outside if you really didn't want to. Like there's no need for it, and that's sad. Because that means then you eventually what's going to happen is there's going to be people who live their whole life without even like doing anything besides just being in their house. And the reality is you can also even make money from the comfort of your house. So it's not like that's impossible to actually just live in your house for like the rest of your life. Not do anything. I just that's weird. It's a weird concept.
pay for with digital money that you'll never touch. You might be listening to this video on $200 earbuds that can mimic any sound and block out the world around you. You are looking at a screen made with millions of pixels that can basically show you anything. Even if you put down your phone screen, you might have a giant TV screen right in front of you playing one of the million TV shows you have available to you. Ads everywhere, ads on this video, the next video, ads between content.
Oh,
you
ads
can
are
buy
horrible.
this thing and that thing. You can't even fill up your gas tank without getting hit with ads. And then you turn around and there's new food, new social media apps.
By the way, I've never understood. I just never understood why ads are so heavily contested. It seems like every company is contesting to just put ads in everywhere, right? There's always competition. There's bidding wars over where can I put my ad. And my question is, do they work? I highly doubt it. Now, this is from my experience and people I know, but from what I understand, most people don't buy stuff from ads. They might see and be like, oh, okay. But they're not going to be like, oh, I'm buying this. Like, another example is the sponsorships from YouTubers. I've never been like, oh my God, this guy just sold me. If anything, I skip it. So then why are they paying money for this stuff if like I mean, how can you also, here's the other thing, how can you correlate, that people are actually buying stuff based off your ad? There's really no way of knowing. Besides if you track their search history, which I don't know if they do that or not, but if they do, that's bad. Like, oh, he got this ad right here, and then immediately after he searched up, I want where to buy a Pepsi, right? Here's an example, right? If they do that, that's ridiculous. But there's really no easy way to like be like, oh, I know the reason why he bought this. It's because he saw an ad. Well, how do you know that? Like seriously, how many people are actually seeing a Pepsi ad and going, man, I'm done drinking Coke. I'm gonna drink Pepsi. I guarantee it's such a low amount of people that it's like it's not even worth paying for it. Because most people already made up their mind. And then the thing is then you have, oh, well, what if then the whole Coke and Pepsi thing, I don't get it, and that's just one example of like these companies are already established. They don't need to spend money on ads, and yet they do. Like, I don't get it. I just feel like it's like the world is so focused on ads, get ads everywhere, right? Does it do anything? No. Just takes up space, at least for most people, I'd imagine. I'm speaking on behalf of basically me, in a sense, because I don't know what everyone else thinks, but I feel like most people wouldn't buy things because they see an ad.
This, new that, new trends, new news, this political event, new video games. This person said this thing and someone did that thing. Unlimited memes, unlimited websites, unlimited this, unlimited that, everything all the time. Basically, stimulation is everywhere. We're at the point now when even if you're slightly uncomfortable, you can numb it with some
Ooh.
form of stimulation. So much comfort surrounds us to the
What is
point
this
that now
video, bro?
discomfort is voluntary.
Why did someone play a video of like, what is this? What were they thinking? Like, oh, let me play a video of a beetle walking around a screen or a
This might not
cat.
sound like a
Like, bro,
problem because
what?
what's the problem with being comfortable? Here's the problem. Remember how we said all of this is new?
Well, the problem
Like,
with being comfortable is that you're not going to make change. And the thing about it is, if you want to grow as a person, you have to make change. So you just end up living a life that's mediocre. Because the way to have a better life is to constantly make change. To do something new, try something out. Right? I mean, that's how I see it.
15 minutes new? Well, yeah, you're still running off the same hardware as your ancestors because evolution is very slow. And while your monkey brain is very smart and built the world you see around you today, it sees all the stimulation the same and is always reaching for it. It doesn't care how it gets stimulation or how it affects it long term. It just wants it now. It loves to be stimulated because it thinks it's being productive. In the past, this was true. Usually, the more stimulating something was, the more it aided with our survival, like hunting, building, reproducing, building
There is
family.
no way he pulled out Clash of Clans for building, bro. There's no way.
More aided with our survival, like hunting, building,
That's
reproducing,
crazy.
building a family, whatever. But today, that's not the case. Most of our stimulation today comes with almost zero effort. And this might sound good
What
until
is
your
that
brain
picture?
starts rotting. All right, so we were designed to chase stimulation, but over time, because of technology, we're no longer stimulated by survival, but just being entertained and comfortable. Cool. But why is this becoming such a problem as of recently? We've had forms of entertainment for generations.
Well, the reason why it's a problem is because companies found a way to abuse it, to basically get you hooked onto their stuff. Well, that's the reality is that basically now every single entertainment app in the world, basically, well, not in the world, but a lot of the entertainment apps, or just even social media apps, are designed to abuse your brain to keep you hooked. And the problem with abusing the brain is the brain is not going to just be like, oh, I'm being abused, I'm gonna fix myself. No, it's not how that works.
Not as stimulating as the things we have today, but people have been having fun forever. Why is it only now becoming such a huge problem? Why is it all of a sudden becoming dangerous and worrying? If you really want to know what happened, well, TikTok. TikTok happened. TikTok is amazing, but holy shit.
I don't think it's
do I
all
hate it.
TikTok.
I was born in the early 2000s, and I've had technology in my life basically since the beginning. I didn't grow up with really old things like Pac-Man, but I do remember having things like a PlayStation 2 and a Wii. I remember
Yeah, I
when
had a
Instagram was
Wii when I
brown,
was growing up.
and whenever the iPhone 4S came out, and how special it felt because it had Siri or whatever. When YouTube was its own brown app, and I used to watch Minecraft Let's Plays. And anyways,
that's
I remember
exactly
the
what I
internet
was
being
doing.
fun because it was different. It was funny. It was interesting. It was informative. In my hands, I could get access to so many different things. Things I could literally see nowhere else otherwise. People making videos on different things I'm interested in. Memes that were actually relatable to my daily life. Video games I would play with my friends that were actually fun and engaging that I would lose track of time with. Events and trends I could actually see people interacting with in real life. Like the Harlem Shake, the Cinnamon Challenge, Pokemon Go. It just felt different. And back then, my
What?
parents had access to how
I
often I could
I don't
go.
like where this is going. It's basically saying, well, back in my day it was better. Like what? Because I mean, you could argue all this is still relevant. Like what?
These things. Nothing super strict or anything. Maybe like 1 or 2 hours a day. And it felt important because it was actually limited and I never knew what I'd be able to find. And once I got my own phone, I was able to spend more and more time in this web, and things slowly changed. At first, it was really, really fun, but slowly, I didn't want to do anything else in the real world, but I'd rather stay stuck in this world. I would find myself on my phone when I'm supposed to be in bed, or running to go find my phone when I found myself without it on the
Oh
toilet.
my God, that's so relatable. Yeah, I mean, I find it alarming, by the way, how often I use my phone, and this is a wake-up call, I'll be honest. Even my computer, right? It's like all I do, I realized this a couple days ago, just thinking. It's like the only thing I do is I obviously go to school and work. When I come home, I don't do anything else. I just go to my phone or my computer. And it made me realize, like, how much time I'm just using on stuff that doesn't really matter in the end of the world. Like, yeah, a lot of times it's playing video games or editing, but like a lot of it's just, even then, it's like video games, they're not really incredibly useful to play. They're just, like, I play them every single day, and it just made me realize, like, damn, I need to do something else. But the sad reality is, if you want to do anything, it's just, I don't know. The problem is if you want to do anything in, like, outside, right, with actual people, you need to have a lot of money. You need to spend a lot of money. Because if you're hanging out with people, oh, well, I need to get food. Then you need to pay for whatever activity you're doing. It's not a matter of just like, oh, I'm going out and, like, I mean, I don't know. That's just from my experience. It's like every time it's like you gotta pay for something. And that's inconvenient. It's very inconvenient. Because I'm a man who doesn't like to waste money on things that deeply. Like, I like to spend money on things that I think will, make a huge impact. Like, a new setup for my computer, which sounds stupid, but, I use it all the time. So that's a worthy investment. I'm getting off track. Whatever. Point is, basically, I realized my life is basically always just constant technology. That's basically my life. Technology. Sums up my life. And the sad reality is, I'm not the only one, and there's people who are way worse than me. If I think I'm bad, I know there's people who are way worse who spend 18 hours a day, every day, just playing games. And the sad reality is you're not making money from it. At least for me, it's like, oh, occasionally, every day, I'll dedicate some time to either editing or streaming or making a video, right? So at least I'm doing something somewhat productive because hopefully this will make money. But like for most people, they're not doing that. They're just playing games. They're not even being productive about it. Like the thing about it is you can make these time you spend productive. For example, you could actually spend that time on the toilet scrolling TikTok into watching TikToks and figure out what you should do. Oh, this is the new trend. I'm gonna copy it. Or oh, this is the strategy that people are using to like they're using this music I've noticed in every TikTok, right? Oh, then I'll add it to mine. Things like that, but instead you just waste it.
Signs of an addiction forming. And at first, this addiction was so when I found myself without it on
What
the
did that say?
toilet. Signs of an
Imagine if you replaced the phone with a drug, we would call all crazy. And you say you need help because it's your phone, you get a pass when it's literally the same thing. Um, yeah, I agree.
addiction forming. And at first, this addiction was subtle enough to be brushed off as whatever. It wasn't just me, but everyone else was doing this. It was normal. But over time, it was getting worse. And I noticed it as a problem, but I still continued. At first, I thought this was bad, but I have never seen anything as close to crack as TikTok. Like an app in your hand that can show you anything you like, learn from what you like, give you more of what you like, an infinite amount of times that can be accessed anytime, anywhere for free. Just think about that. That's so cool. Just for a second, just let's appreciate that. TikTok on its own is one of the most interesting things the internet has ever produced.
I don't know.
We
TikTok
have
for me
invented
was just depressing because it's just like every time I used it, it was always like seeing stuff that just felt like, why? It just made me realize like, why is this? I don't know. I don't know if I was seeing things differently. My point is basically, it's like it made me realize like, bro, if this is what people like, we're actually cooked because some of the content, quote, 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 that was on there was actually depressing or just downright trash. And yet you'd see like, oh, 15K likes. I've even seen on YouTube Shorts where it's someone begging like, oh, please give me subscribers, gets like 15,000 likes. Or it's like, someone will be like just recording them, walking around and it says some generic like, oh, all these other people in the world have to go to high school at the same time as me when I wake up. It's like, and then that's it. It's like 3 seconds. Just that text. It's like, and then they get a bunch of likes. Like, what? Well, the worst one is for me was when I see this idiot who plays the Xbox 360 and just posts every single day of him playing the Xbox 360 with very like obvious like boring text where it's like trying to bait people to get mad at him. Where it's like, oh, unemployed gamer who does nothing but eat donuts. The point is like there's just so much trash. And that's why I think it's yeah, no, it makes sense now because it's like There's just so much trash that does nothing. It just adds nothing to your life. And the thing about it is the good stuff, you remember it. Like the fun facts I remember. It's crazy.
The antidote to boredom, which is TikTok. Objectively, that is a big milestone in human history. TikTok is basically the single reason brain rot exists, or at least it was the start of it. Before
Uh,
TikTok, there were other apps like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, you know them.
yeah.
But when TikTok came, it changed them all. And I remember it being a pretty
Well,
cringy.
yeah, you
I think
did.
it was called like Musically or something like that.
Yep, I
It just
remember
felt like
that.
an app for weird people because it was just cringy dances and just
Yep.
really weird stuff. But then I don't know how, slowly everybody tried it out, and before long, every single person had TikTok downloaded on their phones. And now you see posts getting 1, 10, 20, 50 million likes. You see basically every one of your contacts has an account and tried to post at least something. And for better or worse, it has changed social media. Why
Yeah.
exactly is TikTok so good though? There's been so many other apps, successful apps, but what makes this app any different?
I don't
It's this
honestly know.
genius thing they invented called the FYP, For You page.
Oh.
So what exactly is this beautiful abomination? Well, when you first get on the app, it's pretty weird because it shows you the most basic mainstream things.
Oh. I've said this before, but bro, when I first went there and I selected male, bro, they started sending me all these softcore porn videos, bro. It was actually horrible. I almost fell for the trap too. Because the system basically promotes it. The idea is like, I mean, in this, by the way, I should mention, by the way, what I'm saying has happened to other people I know. Basically, it's like, it will show people, showing off their body, right? That's the whole point. And then, the idea is you like one of these videos or save them, and then suddenly they just keep recommending them, and now you're in a trap. And the thing about it is when you are, what's the word? Lustful, I guess? Or just being like, I don't know. I don't know the word to describe the situation, but basically people who are, I guess I'll just say lustful for now, basically will be more likely to use the app because they're addicted to that. Not the app. Well, yeah, that's the best way to describe it. It's an easy way to get a bunch of people. That's what I'm trying to say. Because a lot of people in the world are creeps or weirdos.
Maybe some cat videos, dances, weird stuff, whatever. But if you give the app just like 10, 15 minutes, it starts to handpick certain things and test your engagement with it to see if it's good. Then if you like it, it remembers it and it shows you more of it, and it can get extremely specific too. It's so smart because it's finely tuned to you. It's literally made for you. No
Yeah.
two people's For You pages are exactly the same. On your page, you always find something catered perfectly just to you, which is really cool. But
From my experience with TikTok, not really. That was the problem. Is that, well, the problem was when I first opened it, I obviously fell for the trap, basically. But I got out of it, and then when I got out of it, it went down a whole rabbit hole of depressing videos, which I didn't like. So I got very upset. And then it went down a rabbit hole of showing me, like, clips from movies, which I liked for a bit, and then I hated that. And it was just kind of like, I was just sick of it. It's just like, oh, it's just showing me stuff I don't really want, but it thinks I want. And I was just getting really annoyed.
it means you're getting the perfect formula of feel good chemicals to your brain without having to do any real work at all. You can make it about cars, dogs, politics, cooking, memes, makeup, gyms, photography, basically anything you want. And it's smart too because it knows what you like, but will only show you what you like spaced out to keep you on the app longer.
Yeah, see,
Now,
that's what
let's say you
happened to
like
me.
dogs, for example. It won't show you 20 dog videos in a row, but it might show you one every 3 to 5 minutes because it knows you'll stay on the app longer to wait for the next dog video. They basically figured out the perfect formula to keep you hooked on their app, and nobody has yet to make a better algorithm than TikTok. But the problem is that now it's fucking everywhere. After seeing TikTok's success,
Yeah.
basically every single app has this now. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, fucking Amazon now.
And
Somehow, on
Snapchat
almost every
somehow.
single app, you can just tap on something and just start scrolling. And it never ends. Never ends. If you go on TikTok or any app now and just start scrolling and don't stop, just keep going and going.
I
and
mean,
going,
yeah, the amount of videos they
you're
keep
gonna
getting
realize,
posted will
one,
never.
This shit literally never ends, and you will never reach the bottom of your For You page. And two, you're really just sitting there consuming all of that day and night, over and over and over again. Hundreds, thousands of posts downloaded into your mind that you can't even
Jeez.
remember anymore.
Yeah.
Before, the videos were interesting. They got your attention, made you laugh, think, cry, whatever, but over time your brain gets desensitized to the same content, and it needs more stimulating content to pay attention. So the For You page gets more stimulating, and then your brain gets desensitized to that, and it needs more and more. A constant loop. That's how before monkeys were stimulated by throwing a rock into a pond, but now we need 3 monitor setups. And because TikTok made this instant, unlimited, short form content machine, it made the feedback loop faster than ever. Which is why before we could watch 30-minute YouTube videos and then 1-minute videos, and why now we need Subway Surfers gameplay with bouncing, flashing subtitles.
I mean, like I said before, now it's like if I want to watch a big video, I have to basically play it while playing a game. Like, that's just how it goes. I mean, well, it depends on what it is. Like, if it's like a video game, like someone playing a video game, that's different. Because I can still watch those. I do notice, though, I do struggle now to watch videos that 3 or 4 years ago I would watch easily. For example, those like, those like 1 hour videos where it's like, oh, I completed a game 100% or something like that. Which are usually well edited, so like they're not really boring. They're always like doing something new constantly, right? Or covering something, right? It's for some reason now I can't even watch those anymore. Like it's just so hard. And the sad reality is the amount of times I've watched videos, like video games, someone playing a video game, I click off and just instinctively go to shorts on YouTube because I'm a YouTube shorts enjoyer, is actually alarming. I've noticed myself just yesterday, right? I was watching a video and I was like, oh, I'm entertaining, I'm gonna finish this. And I was like, I'm gonna feel good when I finish this because I actually watched a YouTube video. And then, not even 5 minutes in, I was enjoying the video, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch YouTube Shorts. And guess what? It was a waste of time. Because the YouTube Shorts I watched, most of them were just feces. They weren't even good. So then I was like, why did I do this? Why did I... It's just confusing because, like, why did I go off something that I was enjoying, that I felt like was going to be nice to watch, to do something that I, in the end of the day, did not enjoy as much? That's a problem. It's a problematic issue.
To keep someone focused on something for literally half a second. It's why memes now don't make any sense, but they still make you laugh simply because they are fast paced and objectively just stupid. We've been training our brain for years to focus on things less and less. We're at the point now when we can't even remember what we just watched 5 swipes ago. Hours can pass and it's all just lost. The spiral has always been here, but TikTok has just cranked it up to 11. And because of that damn algorithm, everything has just become a competition of stimulation and how long you can hold someone's attention just to hold it. Now everything needs a cut, an edit, a bang, or some
Why would
sound
he get
effect.
Star Wars playing, bro?
It's almost painful to focus on something uncut, something that has been edited to
Is there
death
Star Wars playing? I don't
with
know.
a
Never
million
mind.
features.
Doesn't matter.
It's why Mr. Beast videos do so good and how the dumbest shit gets the most attention. We will continue to scroll, swipe, watch, tweet, and consume until we look up and ask, why? For what?
Well, the problem is it
Mhm.
doesn't matter if you answer that question. Like for me, I'm asking that question, right? Oh, why? And I know for a fact I'm still gonna go on YouTube Shorts tonight. I'm gonna scroll, right? It's just how it goes. Just how it goes.
The reason why we like these apps is because in the past, or every now and then, we found something extremely funny, engaging, or entertaining, something more stimulating than almost anything in the real world. And we're able to find this bite of stimulation through something that required almost zero effort on our part. Your brain notices this and it goes crazy because it knows if it can just sit there long enough again without any effort, it will be rewarded again. And this is true for a while. But the internet and all these things just don't hit the same anymore. Like, like whenever you were young and pizza was the most amazing thing ever,
Oh, yeah.
because you might get like a little thin sliver once every season at a pizza party at school or something. But when you grow up and start making money, you realize that you can get it anytime, any day, every.
I'm grown up and making a little bit of money, not too much, but enough to definitely afford pizza somewhat consistently. And I can tell you that no, I'm not. I don't know. I feel like I'm an outlier, but I feel like I just, it's like I've grown up, and the idea of going to fast food is like it's still like something that I can't do normally. I don't understand how people fall in this trap of like, oh, I gotta get my daily coffee every day. Like, to me, it's like I only take it when I actually think I deserve it, or like when I'm doing something special, or I'm eating out with someone. Like, I'm not. I feel like I'm an outlier, but I don't know. So for me, pizza is still special because I don't have it often. I don't know. It's just me.
every day for cheap, and it loses its appeal very fast. But it's hard for you to stop eating it because it's actually really good and really cheap, and it's instant and it feels good, and you really only feel bad the day after you did it, but you end up doing it again to remove the feeling of feeling bad, and then you find yourself eating it almost every day for a while, looking for the same feeling you had the
What
first time
is
you
this?
ever had.
Okay, I'm sorry. What is this footage? Like, who recorded themselves
Find
eating
yourself eating it
pizza
almost
while
every day
gaming?
for a while, looking for the same feeling
Why?
you had the first time you ever had pizza. That's basically TikTok and
That
the
guy
internet,
is
but
enjoying that pizza a little
worse.
too much.
Look at all the things we consume now and how stimulating and interesting they are, just objectively. And then look at our faces and our reactions to them. If this was our first time on the internet, these things would have us on the floor holding our stomachs and entranced. You give TikTok to someone in the dark ages, and they might dead ass have a heart attack. But
Uh,
now we barely get a hard exhale. We are that desperate for a little emotion that we will spend hours for the rest of our life looking for it.
yep, that was my sums up my experience on TikTok. How is this? Still have 20 minutes left. Damn.
What the fuck are we doing? It's not even fun anymore. We're just looking through shit trying to find a golden nugget, a little hit of dopamine just to continue the search, trying to stay up to date on things that don't matter in our lives at all. For what? We're not gaining anything from it. We're just there. It's not like when we find something we're looking for, it's going to change anything about our lives. We're going to look at it, feel good, then forget it. It's just empty. An infinite empty cycle of scrolling. But the one excuse we always tell ourselves before going back in is, what's wrong with a little fun?
That's not what I say.
A
I
little
just do
longer
it.
won't hurt. If you made it this far into this video, I'm going to hope your brain isn't completely fried and I can start speaking like an actual person. Brain rot is so fucking terrifying because it's literally an addiction that's so subtle, we don't even notice it as an addiction. Or worse, we are aware of it and we know it's an addiction, yet we still make excuses for the addiction. We willingly
Well,
fuck.
I've always said this, but I think the problem is that there's no such thing as not having an addiction. The perfect life would ideally be where you're not addicted to anything, but the problem is you're addicted to something. No matter what stage of life you're at, you're always addicted to something, in my opinion. I guarantee almost, at least I'd say 99.9% of the population, I would say, probably is addicted to some one thing. And I'm not even talking just TikTok alone, because that's a huge popular part of the population, but even just other things, like whether it's just making money or working hard. I'm addicted to working hard, right? Sounds just silly, but there's someone out there probably is. Like, they can't rest without working. They can't go to sleep without knowing they spent 10 hours working on something, right? Um, it's things like that, right? Everyone's addicted to some gym, blah, blah, blah. It's just a matter of, did you find one that's positive?
Ourselves over again and again for some mindless stimulation to distract ourselves from the things we know we should be doing. And some of you can probably hear my voice and be like, it's not that deep. Why is he getting so serious about this? And I'm getting serious about this because it affects our literal existence. If these things we're looking at all day were actually helpful to us, then sure, fine. But we all know it's not. We're making excuses. It's something that affects almost every one of us in some way, shape, or form. Or we all know of this addiction. We all know we gain nothing from it. Yet we continue. Whenever we were young and we see someone smoking or drinking or addicted to something, we swore that would never be us until we look down and we have the exact same addiction, just as something different. And I think it's because the
Yeah.
effects of this aren't super apparent immediately. And since so many other people do it, most of us just brush it off
Well,
as whatever.
that's the problem. It's like if you go on TikTok and you have your friends added, you'll notice that your friends constantly send you TikToks every day. When I was on TikTok, every single day I'd get like 3 or 4 videos from multiple people. And that's alarming. And it's just like, oh, well, I guess this is normal. And the fact is that 99% of people I've run into in school settings, at least, probably have used, are used, or I've seen used, or probably have used TikTok in school in that setting. So it's just like it becomes normalized, and the thing about it is once something's normalized, it's just like, oh, it must be fine. Because why would else would people do it if it's not fine, right?
When it's actually a very serious thing. We are alive. And if you are alive, I assume you want to get the most out of this life as you can. You have things you want to do, accomplish, become, etc. Cool. But if you do want to get more out of your life, you need to focus on something for a long period of time. But before that, you need to actually sit down and figure out what you want to do with your life. And all of this takes focus and energy.
All right, all right. By the way, I don't agree with the whole sitting down to figure out what you want to do with your life. At least for me, it's just kind of like you just kind of think about it and just randomly, right? Like whether that's in the shower. But I know what he's going to say, basically, and I agree with this, by the way. I think it's harder for us to focus on things that we want to pursue because there's things distracting us, such as, like, for me, it's video games and, YouTube that distract me are huge distractors. And YouTube Shorts is a huge distractor, right? Because it's like when you engage with something for an hour, right, that's like, even editing, right? I edit for an hour, I'm instantly like, okay, I'm done, even though I've only done it for 1 hour. That's not even that long. Right? And it's like, oh, well, now I want to go on YouTube Shorts for 30 minutes, and that turns into an hour. And then it's like, oh, wow, I just wasted an hour. When I could have just used that hour to continue going. But I can't, because my brain tells me I need to stop. That's a problem. And, like, if you want to pursue something, right, or you have to learn something, right, a new skill for your new, like, the career path, right, it's going to be a lot harder when you are constantly thinking about, like, oh, I really want to go on TikTok or whatever, right? It's just way harder.
From places, thinking about 100 different things, and somehow expect to do anything cool with your life. Anyone that we look up to, either now or in the past, are only up there because they were immensely focused on something. They made a plan and did something different, something over a long period of time without frying their brain. And of course, you can always say, what's the problem with a little stimulation? And I agree. I'm not saying life needs to be super serious to the point when 24/7.
Yeah, by the way, I hate these people who say, like, for example, these, especially like those like alpha males, whatever they call themselves, right? They'll be like, you can't do it, you can't go and play video games. You have to be productive constantly. It's like, no. But at the same time, the problem is that when you're doing stuff that's productive and hard to do, that you might not enjoy, it's just that when you start introducing simulation and like things that are fun, you're more likely to do those because, well, they're fun. And that's the problem. It's like it's a matter of time, in my opinion, for most people before those like fun activities that you do for like 30 minutes a day turn into 1 hour or 2 hours. That's just how it works. I think most people are too weak-minded to handle it.
It's just a nonstop grind. But the problem is that a little stimulation is not a little fucking stimulation. It's something we are glued to for hours. Hours every day. Those hours turn into days. Those days into weeks.
Jeez, this is just
and
making me sad.
Years. Years of stimulation, which 99.99% of it won't be remembered or useful in any way. We swear we're learning something. We might find some educational post, maybe like once a week or something, but we all know that vast majority of the content we consume on a daily basis is empty, useless, vapid bullshit that does nothing but mess up your head. I know brainwash is usually a thing talked about for Gen Alpha or younger kids with iPads or whatever, but it affects all ages, let's be real. We've probably all seen grown-ass adults scrolling on these apps as well. Just instead of it being TikTok, it's Facebook or something, since everything's basically TikTok now. We all know that these really young kids with iPads are screwed. But what about us? What are we doing? Are we doing any better?
I'm sorry,
If you've
why
already
is
achieved everything you've wanted in your life, or you're genuinely working hard towards it, fine. But if we're not, we're the same as the iPad kids, just a little older with more responsibilities. Arguably worse, because we know it's bad, yet continue. Because some people swear that they're only online for 15, 30 minutes a day. If you're only spending 30 minutes,
Yeah, I
heck,
highly
even an
doubt it.
hour a day, mindlessly distracted, then cool. But that's simply not the case. Because if you count the amount of time you spend scrolling, watching, gaming, texting, reading, listening, etc., that doesn't contribute anything to what you actually want to do with your life. It can easily add up to several hours
Oh,
a day.
okay. I don't like how you put like texting in there because I'm sorry, I'm not gonna say that texting doesn't mean to contribute to like important to my life because that's how you like talk to friends, right? You can't just say, "Oh, well, texting's bad." Like, no.
Wasted.
I
So,
say this though, texting for 2 hours, for no reason, is straight like 2 hours straight. That's bad. But like for like a couple minutes here and there, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, it's normal. Like you gotta communicate with people.
so no, it's not just a little stimulation, but more stimulation than any human in history. And like you can't just put your phone down and turn it off either. You start thinking about this stuff outside of social media. Like I remember when I used to play Call of Duty and fighting games, I would be thinking about different combos and achievements outside of the game.
Oh yeah, I
I
would
remember
too.
this
I
one
do that all
game.
the
I
time.
think it was called like the Crew 2 or something.
Okay, I'm gonna give a story. Multiple occasions, Minecraft usually, but I remember when I was 6, I looked out the window of a car and I saw a creeper in real life, and it was actually not a creeper. And that was a sign. I also remember one time I was playing Hypixel Skyblock, which Hypixel is a server on Java version of Minecraft, and it's got a game mode called Skyblock. And basically, I was grinding the game like at 12 hours a day. Basically, it's like a full-time job, basically, and overtime. That's all I do when I got out of school. This was like 3 years ago. Or no, actually 4 years ago, yeah. And basically I was making videos with it, so I was being productive somewhat in the sense that like all the grinding I was putting in the game was gonna be put towards like something cool for a video. Like, oh, I'm gonna grind all these hours to get a cool item to make a video, right? That was the whole purpose. But I remember I took on this challenge of getting one of the most like expensive things in the game, which meant that I had to grind for about a month or two straight, killing the same enemy every single like it would just be like three enemies would spawn, kill them, and wait 15 seconds and do it again. And I did that all the time. And basically these enemies, I'd grind them because they dropped a special item occasionally that would make money, right? So the idea is I would just do this every single day for hours and hours and hours. I would literally people would call me on Discord and be like, "Hey, you want to hang out?" No, I'd reject them all. I was so focused, right? And it got to the point where I went to sleep and I started dreaming about that creature I was killing. I started dreaming, like, not even dreaming. I saw visions of me killing that creature. I remember I laid on the ground. I saw visions. It's just stupid. It was like, that's when you know it's bad. When you close your eyes for a brief second. It happened to me with chess. I remember like 2 years ago. I was getting really like high into chess. Like, oh man, I wanted to learn as much as possible. I was staying up late every day at night for school, way too late, studying chess moves, all that stuff, because I wanted to be so good. And I remember I was in a class, and I just started thinking about like, oh, this is how the knight would move. Like, oh, the knight will move here, 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 here. And I realized, what am I doing? Like things like that, it just like makes you realize, wow, you cooked. Now chess is not as bad, but the whole Minecraft thing, oh, it was horrible. It's happened multiple times in Minecraft. I've had dreams about Clash of Clans. I've had dreams about Minecraft. I've had dreams about video games. I had a dream about Fortnite the other day. Like, that's sad. The reality is, it's because it's a huge part of my life. Like, these games, I play all the time.
To unlock this car, you had to be rank 1000 or something. And I spent hours daily into the night trying to get this car. I was looking up YouTube tutorials on how to level up faster, the best way to get coins or credits or whatever currency they had in the game. And I was thinking up to like 1, 2, 3 a.m. working for this fake car.
Oh my God, that's
And
relatable.
anyways, I got it. and it felt good for a second. And then I looked around and I realized I didn't achieve anything at all in my real life. And
Well, the thing about it is you can't. That's the thing. I actually think I should start doing this, where when you do something huge like that, you gotta make a video about it or do some. It might sound stupid because who's gonna watch a man talk about how he got this cool thing? Well, then record yourself getting to that process. You know, maybe write a script like documenting what your thought processes were, how you were slowly getting insane, right? Make it like like a story. Boom. It's not going to be the most entertaining thing ever, but you know how many people do that type of stuff? There's literally hundreds of channels that just talk about how they're 100% in games and got a platinum trophy. And if you just did that by yourself, which I'm doing currently where I'm getting 100% in games, it made me realize like, dude, I could turn this 100% in a game into a video and it would be more productive because hey, at least then I potentially could make money, right? And there's people already do that, right? They take something that most people do and like think about, alright, let's just, I have a lot of thoughts. Basically, when people 100% a game, it doesn't really mean much, right? Oh, I got the platinum trophy. Oh, wow, look at me. Yeah, it's cool, I guess, to say you did it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. No one really cares. But the second you turn into a video, then it's like, oh, all those like 50, 100 hours, 200 hours, 300 hours of gameplay turns into something that could be more money. So, I'm just saying, if you ever do something, especially with video games, I would say that's like, you know, and you're just thinking to yourself, wow, this is going to be a waste of time. I'm only doing it for myself. Maybe you should just turn that to a video. Who knows?
I just felt empty. And I can speak for everyone, but I'm sure I can't be the only one who feels that way. Like, what is the point? What is the benefit? What exactly do we gain from this? Do we see any actual benefit to this? Or are we just all addicted? Why are we all just okay with making pure stimulation our default state of being when accomplishing real goals in real life is mostly the complete opposite of pure stimulation?
I'm sorry, this is distracting me. I can't focus with all this nonsense being played. Like, dude, why do you have to like have like the visuals go crazy, bro? There's no reason for that.
You actually accomplish in
Can
your
you
life
stop?
when you're mindlessly distracted. Of course, right? Of course, not every second of life needs to be a full grinding or working or whatever, but how much do we fucking need? We turn every slightly dull moment into pure entertainment. We can't sit with our own thoughts for 5 minutes without looking for our phones. We put this shit above our own health and things that actually matter in our lives. Where do you think this will lead long term? How can any of this turn out good? I remember one day I was doom scrolling and I ended up on this one video of this guru guy talking about time management or whatever. And he broke it down that there's 168 hours in a week. If you sleep 8 hours a day or around 56 hours and you work another 40 hours, you still have 72 hours in your week.
Dang.
So why not get another full-time job and work 8 hours a week to get ahead? No.
Ooh, yeah. These people, I hate these people. I hate these people so much. It only applies if you are absolutely need to pay the bills and you're not making enough money. I don't think you should work more than 60 hours a week, in my opinion. I think 40, that's reasonable. I think 60, yeah, that's where I would say is max. Because anything past that, and you're just, you need free time. That's the reality. You need free time. Like, you need some time to do something. Otherwise, your life will just be about working. I don't care how fun your job is. You can't just live a life of working constantly.
Now, I don't think people need to work 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah, I think that's
and work
outrageous.
80 hours a week or whatever. But he said this thing that really made me think. At the end, he said, how much playtime do you need? Basically, how much time do you need off from working and growing something you actually care about, especially if you're an adult. And of course, this is extreme. And there's obviously more nuances to it. Like, you have less than 72 hours a week.
Well, yeah, because you have chores, you gotta, you know, find time to make a meal if you're home cooking, or even just get the meal, right? And you gotta consider pooping, showering. You know, there's a lot more to it, but still, that's not that much time.
Free time. But maybe look at my life for a second and ask myself, how much time do I need to just chill, especially when I'm nowhere near where I want to be? Like, do I have to start scrolling again, as if I haven't been looking at the same things for months now? Like, okay, for example, If you're on average scrolling for a little more than 3 hours a day, you have already scrolled around 100 hours this past month.
Ooh.
100 hours.
Those 100 hours could be. Sad reality is those 100 hours. I'd rather put. Like I'm thinking, wow, 100 hours that could be put into a game. That could be put into something else. Like, oh, I could put those in the ending. Nope.
Why do you need more? Especially if it fries your brain, your motivation, your discipline, willpower, etc. Why do you continue?
I
We
hate
don't
this
think about how it
footage,
affects
bro.
us long term, only short term. We just want that instant feeling of relief instead of taking a long road to actually fix the problem. Instead of studying, we scroll. Instead of working out, we swipe. Instead of sleeping, we text. We ignore the
Okay,
big pain
texting.
in
I just
our
don't
lives.
agree with the texting
To
thing. I don't do. Is it common for most people to text for hours and hours a day? I feel like that's not. There's no way that's normal. Then again, I don't know. I feel like that could be normal. I've caught myself once in a while being like texting or messaging people for like two hours straight, but that's rare. It's very rare. Most of the times, I like to just kind of let notifications ride out for like a couple hours, and then I'll like check them all at once. I don't know. I don't like to instant respond, but then again, I also instant respond all the time too. It's weird. Also, I hate how there's like a culture, like a not a culture, just like a thing about like, oh, if you respond instantly, you're online chronically, bro, and you know that's seen as weird. But if you take too long to respond, then it's like, oh wow, you don't care about me. It's like, bro, I hate that stuff. Personally, I think that if you respond in less than 12 hours, I think you're in good terms, right? Like, is it preferably you spend like respond in less than 1 hour? Of course. But, you know, people don't see things, right? It's just how it goes. I just hate people who don't respond at all. Like I've known someone who would like not respond to people because they're like, "Oh, I don't know what to say." So it's like, "Oh, so I'm being left on the red." And you're just thinking, "Well, what did I do wrong?" And then to find out, "Oh, I don't know how to respond." Like, "Bro, what?"
temporarily numb them with colorful pixels. I hope you agree with me when I say this just isn't fun anymore. Most of the time we spend having fun isn't even fun. Most of the fun people have is spent looking at a screen doing nothing. And because all people see now is stupid stuff on social media, they become stupid themselves, especially 12-year-olds growing up now. But younger-ish people like myself in our 20s, how is it fun keeping up with politics 24/7? Comparing yourselves to other people or celebrities, keeping up with this thing or that thing, looking into the lives of other people you'll never meet and have nothing to do with you. How is that
Mm.
fun? Now, obviously, if you're watching a cool movie or something extremely interesting, like the video you're watching right now,
Okay,
cool.
bro.
But TikTok, with its ability to show you a million different videos, you're not enjoying that. You didn't even want to see it. You're just feeding into an algorithm that's literally designed to keep you watching as long as possible. And now this algorithm is everywhere and it gets better and better. Now, millions of people spend most of their existence just scrolling. And the whole time, somewhere in this huge, ever growing web, you're just there, consuming.
I
And not
heard the
enjoying.
saying that you should always be a producer than rather than a consumer. It's always better to produce than consume. So what that basically means in this scenario would be produce content, don't produce TikToks, don't consume TikToks, or at least produce more than you consume. And
Yourself.
I agree because if you're producing almost every single time you're producing, you're 99% of cases making money or being productive. Whereas if you're consuming, almost all cases, it's not being productive. There are times when consuming is good. For example, if you're a critic, obviously. If you're a movie critic, obviously watching movies is productive because that's how you make your money. I mean, and you know, obviously there's still, yeah, like for example, consuming this video, right? You know, obviously that's productive in the sense for me at least because I'm making content out of it.
It's no longer fun. Yet you swipe just one more time. So the dark part about all of this is that it's just going to get worse and more addicting. These algorithms are going to get better. VR and AI are just not becoming a thing.
Yeah, I'm
And
scared
they're
of
going to get
VR.
exponentially better. The technology we have today is the worst it will ever be. As in, it will never be less addicting than it is now. It will never get any worse
Unless
than it is
regulations
at
are
this
applied.
second. because there's so much money in it and people love being stimulated 24/7. If you're watching or listening this far into this video, then you might see this as a problem. But vast majority of people clearly do not. A very small percentage of people are willingly going to choose to be less stimulated. Most people don't even notice what's happening and are just going to want more. Or they see the signs that it might be a problem, but then they quickly ignore it with some more content to rot their brains. So they're going to spend more time on these apps, teach the AI algorithms more about them to feed them more content and more content and more content and more content. Within time, this stuff is going to become so personal and so stimulating to the point that people aren't going to want to do anything outside of this. You're
I
already
add
starting
numbers
see
to
signs
this,
of
bro. Like, this footage is starting to make me annoyed because it's just stupid. Like, why add numbers here? Just a bunch of people walking and we just add footage of numbers rotating. Like, bro, let's get out of here.
Like, I know that movies like Matrix and WALL-E are just movies, but isn't that kind of the natural conclusion to all of this? Where we just keep making these things faster and better. We don't just see things on a screen, but now it's in a room we're in. We go from vibrating phones in our hands slowly to vibrations all over our body. Instead of apps with algorithms, you'll have your own personal AI that can show you literally you can possibly think of instantly in seconds. Like, is that not where we're heading? You just know right now, people are trying to find ways to connect all of our senses to the virtual world. So far we have...
By the way, I'm scared of VR because I have a feeling it's already kind of bad, but I have a feeling if it's gonna get worse and worse because there'll be a point where VR which will be of no return, basically, where virtual reality will feel like a real reality when you enter it. And it will be hard to figure out. I feel like once that happens, it'll be hard to, at least for me, because I'm always on the internet and I'm always playing video games, it'd be so hard to get off of that. And my life I'd probably invest so much more of I already know I would. I'd invest so much more time into that than real life. And the reality is like, if everyone's on virtual reality, playing like, what's that one Ready Player One? If it happens like that, bro, it's like, guess what? Our world will be screwed. I don't know. Because no one will... I just don't want to live in a world where everyone is on their VR, right? Their headset and their virtual reality. No one's actually doing anything in real life because the problem with that, obviously, is then the world is just going to rot around us and no one's really going to notice. Or the people who do notice is very minority. I don't want that to happen, but that's a whole other conversation.
Sight and hearing basically down. But what happens when we get taste, smell, and touchdown? Touchdown. What happens when you can just pull out something, hit a button, and boom, you're in a world perfectly made for you. And not to get too science fiction or anything, but imagine we learn how to manipulate our perception of time. And a year in this perfect digital world is only a few minutes in a real world. And
oh my god. If that happened, I wouldn't even think about it twice. I'd be on there for hours. Real life hours. Yeah.
Perfect. You feel no pain. You can go anywhere. You can see, touch, feel, smell, taste things you can't experience in the real world.
Oh.
Would you leave? How much more
no.
stimulating would that be compared to the real world? What if this world is just as tangible as the real world? Wouldn't you stay as long as you could, especially if it's objectively better, even if it isn't real? What if you're in that world right now and just forgot about your past life? What if you're 15 layers deep?
I knew it was gonna go weird.
Within a world within a world. And your true ultra real world body is over 1 trillion years old by now. Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent, but I think that's where we're headed. And we're going to start seeing versions of this happening much sooner than we think, which is really cool, but kind of scary if you think too much about it. It's just crazy to me how fast all this is happening. 10,000 years ago, there was basically no entertainment other than throwing rocks into a pond. 1,000 years ago, you might have had a live concert or an athletic event you can go watch. And less than 100 years ago, you had terrible video games and maybe a color TV if you were really lucky. But today, you have all of those combined times 1,000 in your pocket or in arm's reach. You don't have to look far to find stimulation. And now we're in the beginning of the AI and the VR era, and we can already predict where that's going. And this sounds good, but We're already seeing side effects of all of this.
Yeah.
Already, young people are being less social, not wanting to do anything outside. There's been a
That's
rise
me.
in
I'm not gonna lie. That's not even me fully, because I used to be that person who used to be like, I don't want to hang out with anyone outside. And I started realizing, yeah, I probably should start doing that. But now the problem is that I've realized that a lot of other people that I thought were into that stuff aren't. And so now it's a whole cycle where it's like, oh, I ask people, hey, do you want to hang out? And they're like, no, no, not really. And then it's a whole battle to get people to hang out. And it's like, well, you might as well just at that point just forget about it. It's just easier to go, hey, I'm gonna play a video game with you, bro. And instead of like, oh, let's go eat out or something, right? Or, ooh, let's do this. It's just easier to say, let's play a video game, right? It's just a sad reality.
depression and anxiety, being awkward around real human beings, having the perspective of the world being shaped by fake people on fake screens, living fake lives. Young men clocking in thousands of hours into a video game while covered in Cheeto dust, while
Ooh.
also being able to see any girl they want instantly doing anything. Young kids being given phones at 6 years old, and so many young and old people depressed, aimless, and lost, yet they still make time to fucking scroll every day. And it's
Oh,
just
what
gonna
is this footage, by the
get
way?
worse.
What is this footage?
When I was young, the internet was special. I remember the internet being this huge, unexplored world when everything was new and unique and not designed just to keep me watching for another second. When I didn't feel like a product. When not every single pixel of the internet was optimized to get my attention just to get my attention. When the internet felt like something I wanted to go on, not
I'm
needed
sorry,
to
what
go on.
again, what is that
I've
footage, by the way? He just had grass, like, being blown by wind. Like, bro, what is this footage?
only been around for 23 years, but if there's one thing I've learned, it's that comfort kills you slowly.
Oh, it does.
There's no problem with a
100%.
little comfort, obviously, but when that's all you are, there's no growth,
That's what
no
I said
accomplishment,
earlier.
no reward, no happiness. We weren't designed to be comfortable 24/7. We weren't designed for this. So called pleasures, when they go beyond a certain limit, are but punishments. So, what the hell can we do about this? Because, like we talked about before, brain rot is here and it's just going to get worse. We cannot fix this as a collective because most people do not care and will not give up scrolling. But we can fix this in our individual lives, which will hopefully motivate others to make a change as well. Probably not,
Yeah,
but
no.
maybe. This is the boring part most people don't want to listen to, but if you already made it this far into this video, you might as well finish it. I really don't want you to keep rotting your brain. So I hope this next part is helpful to you in some way. I can't speak for everyone, but this is how I fixed my own brain rot, or at least made it a lot better. And spoiler alert, it's just the obvious stuff. But I also want to add a little bit more to it. So a few months ago, I had a genuine
Okay,
fear I was
okay. I don't like those
developing
eyes.
Alzheimer's
Just get them out of here.
because I would be talking to my girlfriend and then forget entirely what we're talking about just 5 seconds later. And it's normal to forget some things sometimes, but this was actually really bad. My room was also a mess and I couldn't focus on anything. And I just felt this fog all the time. And then I realized, oh, it's because I'm on TikTok 2 to 3 hours a day and then I'm jumping to bullshit YouTube videos and I'm not doing anything I know I should be doing. I wasn't eating right. My sleep schedule was terrible again and hadn't been to the gym in like 3 weeks. I gained a lot of weight too, so no shit, this was happening to me. And then I found the secret solution to all of this. I deleted TikTok and I started doing the things I know I should be doing, and now my memory and focus is back. Surprise, surprise. I always just try to remember that if I eat right, sleep right, work out, and probably the biggest thing, get off my phone, that's 90%.
Okay, by the way, I should give some advice. If you want to fix your life, don't do it in increments. Don't do it all at once. Don't go cold turkey everything at once. Like, oh, you want to fix your diet, you want to fix your health, and you want to fix your TikTok addiction, for example. Well, you should focus on one, fix that, and then work on the other stuff. So, for example, if you think TikTok's the highest priority, just Well, you could cold turkey. I think that's the best option in that case. But most of the cases, you don't want to do that because you're, especially if there's multiple things at once, because what's going to end up happening is you're more likely to come back to it because your brain is not ready for that. Because think about it. I mean, if you use TikTok all the time, every day, for hours, and you just cut it off randomly, your body's used to it. You're right. Your brain's used to going on TikTok, and now it's like, oh, well, now what am I going to do to fill up this time? And if you do it in increments, you're more likely to, find things that you can fill that time in slowly. The problem with doing that with TikTok is obviously you're more likely to just continue scrolling anyways. I mean, because it's so easy. I've done it so many times on YouTube Shorts where it's just like, oh, I'm gonna get off now. And you're like, you know what, 5 more minutes, and it just goes on and on and on.
Another problem, and will always get me back on the right track. Here's the problem. It's really simple. Almost too simple. Basically, anyone could have guessed the solution, but nobody does it. Why?
Because it's not as it's simple in the sense of how to execute it, but it's not that simple in the sense of it's an addiction. Addictions are hard to get rid of.
I can't tell you exactly why other people don't do X, Y, and Z, but I'll try to explain my little theory I've noticed within myself. It's because it doesn't seem like it does anything. If I do eat right, so what? I don't notice it instantly. It might not taste the best. It might take more time to prepare.
That's so relatable.
Like, what's the point? If I do sleep right, so what? Like, we're gonna wake up tired the next day regardless. If we do go work out, we look the same the next day, but now we're just sore. So what's the point?
The thing about working out though is just like it's hard because at least for me, when I was on my huge workout kick back in like major where I was going every single day basically. I do go, but not as often as I should, which I'm trying to fix. It was like I didn't notice much change for a while. But the thing about it is the things that take the longest change are the things that are the most rewarding. It's just how it goes. I think the problem is we want instant change, but that's not how that works. And even then, I had the whole soreness thing. Bro, being sore is the best feeling in the world. Like, dude, because that's like a sign that you're doing something right when you're sore. It's like, oh wow, I had a really good workout. That's good. It's a great feeling.
Point. If I do get off my phone and go pick up a book, cool. I didn't make any money. I didn't change anything about my life. So what the hell is the point?
Okay, but the book thing, yeah, that's kind of understandable. Books, though, it's all about just. It's really about just increasing your intelligence. That's how I feel. Because when I used to read all these books, I was like, well, my vocabulary was way better. But I've noticed over the years, as I stopped reading books, it just decreased. I still can read, don't get me wrong. And I guarantee if I find a good book, like, bro, I used to be so, like, there's nothing like a good book. Like, bro, a good book is like watching a movie. But the thing about it is if you leave to do something else, it's like pausing a movie. You can't pause a movie and then go, I'm going to work now, or I'm going to go to school for 8 hours. You can't do that. But that's basically what it's like. Like, it's ridiculous how good. I should probably get back to reading. Like, I used to be like one of those people who would like, I'd pick up a book and in 1 or 2 days I'd finish it because it was so good I couldn't think about anything else but books or that story. And it was a great feeling. Because you'd always be like, oh, I don't like reading. And then you do it and you realize, wow, I actually enjoy it. And it's productive because it actually makes you smarter, in my opinion.
Asking myself those things until I realized the point. The point of doing these things is that it allows you to focus. And when you're able to focus and really think about your life, your problems, whatever, you get shit done. Brain rot, brain fog, or whatever term you want to use is simply literally what happens when your brain can't focus on what's important in life because it's focused on other things that don't matter and are just instant, stupid, and stimulating.
I don't know if that's exactly
your entire
what
life like that. It becomes hollow. Focusing on something that's actually beneficial to your life, like school, work, business, is usually unstimulating and boring, at least for a majority of the process. And your monkey brain just wants maximum stimulation, so it's always going to default towards the more stimulating option. And because you can access unlimited, instant, algorithmic stimulating content anywhere we look, most people just stay locked in there, rotting
Yeah.
their brains. So, if you want to fix your brain rot, or at least
That's the thing about it, by the way, I should mention, is that if you want to be successful, it's easier than ever to be successful. In the sense that my take on this is that it's easier than ever to make it to the top of the top and like something. Like if you want to be the best programmer, it's easier than ever to become super successful because so many people take the lazy approach. They're gonna start they use AI to help them figure things out, right? They're gonna cheat. They cheat their way, and most of them don't really take this thing seriously. But if you start taking and locking in, for example, when you want to be a big programmer, it's easy. It's easier because the competition is all just destroyed. They all suck because they're not taking it that serious. No one's working that hard anymore. Well, I shouldn't say no one, but it's not as common now. It's most people are just busy doing a bunch of nonsense like going on TikTok when they could be using that time to, work hard. And now that you know that all the competition is doing that, it's easier. Don't get me wrong, there's still people who are working crazy hard who are, you know, ridiculous, but it's easier to get to that point where you're in the top, like the successful range.
this is what worked for me. You need to actually do the obvious thing, which is getting off your phone. But for most people, that's not going to cut it. You've heard that before. So I'll try to get really tactical with you. The problem, at least that I had, is that when I remove the time I spend online, there's this void, right? This empty block of time or boredom that opens up that needs to be replaced
Yeah,
by
exactly.
something. You can't just leave it open. So when I first started doing this, I realized I got extremely bored. And when I get bored, instead of turning back to my phone, which happens a lot, I simply try to do something else I know I should be doing, but actually just doing it. And that's the really hard part, shifting the train onto the right track. But once you do that, it starts to move on its own and it's much more easier to keep going. And honestly,
I heard the best thing you can do, by the way, to be productive is to make it so that everything else that you want to do is boring. So basically make it so that the only thing that seems entertaining is the productive activity. And it's actually worked on me. It's hard to pull off, but like for me sometimes I'll be like, I'm so bored of gaming, I don't want to play any games. And I'll think, oh, well now I'm gonna edit now because it's the only thing that's really entertaining. And usually I hate editing. And so when that happens, it's like, oh my God. So I guess the best way to do it is just make TikTok seem super unappealing in your brain or make it seem boring. And, if that's your problem, then suddenly you don't have that problem because you're thinking, wow, it's harder. It's obviously easier said than done. It's hard to pull that off. But if you could, I guarantee you'll do well. You'll do wonders.
takes maybe 2 to 3 weeks of actually trying to make a change, and then it just becomes automatic. But even then, it will fall off again, and you'll have to force it back into place. Like I said, it's a constant battle, and it will be until the day we die. And if that's still not going to cut it, and you still
Okay,
want to
get that
rot your
picture
brain,
off.
here's the final thing I always remind myself: memento mori. I am going to die. I don't have forever to exist. Neither do you. But right now, literally right now, you have the ability to experience things no other thing in the history of the universe will ever be able to experience. You have all the potential in the world at your fingertips. The screen that can take away your life also has the ability to build your life. So use it. If you are going to be online 24/7, produce something instead of consuming it. Do
Exactly.
something
There he
with it.
goes.
Use it to create, learn, become something. And I get it. It can be boring as shit, but what's the alternative? TikTok, social media, stupid YouTube videos, they're always going to be there. Always. But the chance for you to build something meaningful with your life is not. And despite how it feels, you don't need a 10-hour screen time to function. Every other human ever lived a full life without it. You'll be fine. I'm not even saying you have to completely get rid of it. Hell, I still use the internet for bullshit, but at least I'm trying to do something with it. And I can tell you firsthand, it's much more fun this way. And sure, it can get boring as hell when you're in the process of creating something.
Yeah, it's true.
But the feelings you get as it starts coming together and you start approaching the end, knowing you made it, is something scrolling can never give you.
That's true.
Life is quite beautiful.
See, I think the
We-
problem is is that when you know that you have an expiration date, it's easier to just say, well, I want to live a life of fulfillment and not fulfillment, fun, where I just do things I want. It's easy to say that because putting in work, for example, going to the gym stuff, or eating right, or fixing your TikTok addiction, whatever. It's like, why do that when I already am gonna die? Might as well die having fun. The reality is that you could argue that seeing your success is a lot more important than seeing your wait. Let me read. Seeing like your life and how successful you be is a lot more of a rewarding feeling than being complacent and just doing what's normal. That's fun. I'd argue.
You build something that you can call your own. All right, I feel like I'm yapping now. So, in conclusion, brain rot is bad. It's gonna get worse, but not for you. Get off your phone.
Oh.
Get the most out of your existence, please. Por favor. Adios. Bye. Subscribe. Bye.
Oh, okay. Wow, this was, by the way, this was a crazy good video.